I like to say that Alchemy started out of necessity. In 2017, several of us had been doing theater together at another place here in town that was volunteer run, and that place folded. It closed up shop. And several of us decided that we didn't want this art form for us to go away and our experience with it to go away. So we got together and we incorporated and formed a nonprofit and named it Alchemy Theater. And that was a really big step because none of us actually knew how to start a nonprofit or run a nonprofit, or most of those details, but we did a whole lot of research in a short amount of time. And that was in November of 2017. And by May of 2018, we were performing our very first show, the opening night cabaret, in the back room of the Union, a bar in downtown Huntington. I was contacted by someone who had done theater with us before but had moved away and was living away at that time, and that was our artistic director, Mike Murdock. So he heard about what we were doing in the beginning of 2018 and was really excited about Alchemy and about the organization that we were forming. And he contacted me and he said, hey, we should also start the West Virginia Shakespeare Festival. And I said, what's a Shakespeare Festival? And he explained to me that Shakespeare festivals happen all over the country and each state kind of has their own, and West Virginia was one of the only states that didn't have one yet. And so I said, sure, let's do that. That sounds great. And that ended up being our very next production. Alchemy produced A Midsummer Night's Dream at Barboursville Park in the summer of 2018 as the centerpiece production of the very first West Virginia Shakespeare Festival. From there, we continued and we started producing a full season of shows every year since then. The big challenge was that we didn't have a home. We didn't have an actual theater. We were a literal troupe. We were going from place to place and we performed in really any venue that we could.
The West Edge Factory to the Board of Education building to
an art gallery. We performed in a place that was a CrossFit. We performed in church buildings, outdoors at parks.
Huntington City Hall to the Kindred Communications building that's now a CrossFit. We did stuff at the central city streets. We've done the Make Art Gallery. Like we've done shows in many different places.
During COVID, it became really impossible to have gatherings and to perform anywhere for anybody. But instead of stopping all of our performances, we got really creative. We came up with something called parking lot theater, where we would have audience members park their cars in parking lots at parks and at churches, and we would perform on outdoor stages. And then when the weather got cold or too bad for us to perform outside, we actually performed inside of a church, socially distanced, and we had a live feed of the video of those performances projected onto a giant screen in the church parking lot, and the sound from those performances was broadcast through FM radio to the audience members in their cars. So I'm really proud of that time. We were really creative in continuing theater and continuing the art form, even when it seemed nearly impossible. When we were allowed to have gatherings again, and we were allowed to host audiences, we still didn't have a home. We were still sort of nomads going from place to place and working in borrowed spaces all the way through the end of 2022. And we were really at capacity at that point. We were producing 6 or 7 shows per year, but we couldn't do more than that, and we couldn't expand to different types of performance without having our own space. And we looked at many different venues all over town, and Mike and I were at an arts conference in 2022, and he mentioned to me, maybe we're thinking too small. Maybe we're looking for a home for ourselves, but maybe we should be looking for a home for everybody, a home for any homeless artists, any people that need a place to produce the art that they're trying to make. And I said, "You're crazy," but he was right.
One of the reasons that we wanted to have a place of our own was so that we could open it up to other people as well, because we know that there are a lot of other struggling artists that are looking for places to be able to do things, and we know how hard it is to find a space.
And that year, we found the Geneva Kent Elementary School. It used to be an elementary school. It had sat vacant for several years. And by February of 2023, we had moved in and signed a lease and renamed it the Geneva Kent Center for the Arts, and transformed the front of that building into our black box space that we use now. And by May of that year, we had just moved in February, and by May of that year, we produced our first show in our space. That was a really quick turnaround, and I'm really, really proud of all of that progress and how quickly we were able to do that.
We rented the Geneva Kent Elementary School for a while before we purchased it, but it did not take us very long to get the money together to do that. We were lucky enough to get sponsorship from the city of Huntington and the state of West Virginia to purchase the building. That was a big boon for us.
We have seen schools close over the years, and the one thing that we have seen with so many of those facilities is that how that building starts to deteriorate and the neighborhood starts to deteriorate. It was really a concern of mine when Geneva Kent was sold to private hands. Somehow we had to make sure that we had something that was going on here, but it was important for us to have activity here.
I always say that there's nothing worse than driving past an old school that's empty and there's nothing going on there. And there's nothing better to go past a historic building, something that was once the heart of the community, and to see somebody come in and make it again a hub in a brand new way, a completely new rebirth, right? And so we've seen that around the United States. There's some great examples like Green Pastures out in Oklahoma City. That's a big film hub and a studio space.
When you all approached me and I heard that you were looking at acquiring the building, I mean, first of all, you were vagabonds. You were wherever you could go, down at the West Edge, a former factory. I mean, once again, it just showed just how creative it could be, but still, it wasn't something that was built for the arts. As far as I was concerned, this was something that had to be done. And I was so unbelievably proud when we were able to come and deliver that check for you all to be able to acquire this. And knowing that the history of Geneva Kent Elementary continues on by lifting up the neighborhood.
And once we found a space that was big enough for us, it was also big enough for other people. We wanted to be able to invite other people in.
So that year, in addition to producing our first plays here, we also gained some roommates, as I like to call them, Kinder Music and Regeneration Church. So Kinder Music is a music program, music instruction and lessons for the very littlest of people. And we had never heard of Kinder Music before we moved in. And Melissa Brown of Kinder Music contacted us and said, "Hey, I'm really interested in being part of your arts center."
My name is Melissa Brown, and I have taught Kinder Music now for 13 years. I started as just something fun to do with my daughter, who at the time was 1, and it quickly grew in the area. We went from 19 kids the first semester to a year later having 152 children, and I quickly realized I needed help. I could not keep that up on my own. And so a team was created, and We have just really enjoyed being a part of the community. Kinder Music is the world's leading music and movement program. And so we use bells and shakers and drums, and kids just go wild about the little themes that we do. And we've had thousands at this point of children come through the program over the years. And it's fun for them, but they don't realize they're getting all of these developmental activities at the same time. Then we also have our nonprofit side where we write grants, which I'm a nerd, it's fun to me, and obtain grant money to help children specifically with speech delay and special needs to have music as a way to further their development. We have several kinder music programs inside churches locally. Alchemy is a place that feels like home. When we learned about Alchemy, gosh, Sharnice and I came whenever the building you guys had just opened the doors, barely. And I can remember meeting with you guys and saying, hey, can we be the one who redoes this room and claim it? And you guys weren't even quite ready for somebody to rent yet, but it happened. And it's just been so nice. I kind of equate it in my mind as having other friends, but you have that best friend that just gets you. Because here you guys do theater and you have music and there's just constantly dance and arts, and it just truly feels like home here.
It's been a wonderful relationship with them. We have itty bitty children running through our building often. And their music classes and dance classes are just, they're great. They're wonderful introductions to the arts for the young children, but also for their parents and for their family members that bring them along. So we love having them here in the building with us. Our relationship with Regeneration Church goes back a lot further than us moving into this building. We actually met Tracy Tooley, the head pastor for Regeneration Church, back in 2019.
Well, my name is Tracy Tooley, and I'm the lead pastor of Regeneration Church here in Huntington, West Virginia. And basically, we are a group of people who passionately believe in Jesus, want to love God and love people, want to be in the community. We've been around for 13 years now, and it's been very important for us to be a group of people if we're going to really live and believe the love that Jesus showed, then we've got to literally live and love like Jesus. And so we want to be in the community. So we go out and give away hot dogs, give away clothing. Being people who want to make the love of God tangible is just very important, very valuable to us. And it's basically who we are. We talk a lot about wanting to make life with Jesus interesting. And so you name it, we'll do it.
We were looking for a place to perform a production of art, and more specifically to rehearse a production of art. We had a performance space, but that wasn't available until the actual production weekends. And so we were looking for a place to rehearse this small cast play. And Tracy heard about it.
Mike was, I don't want to say he was begging. He might say he was begging, but he was asking if anybody knew of a venue where they could do a 3-man play. And I saw his post and just randomly said, hey, I don't know if this is what you're looking for. Shot him a couple pictures of our worship space and said, hey, if you need a place, you'd be more than welcome to use it.
We're like, this play has a lot of cusses. Are you sure about that? And he was like, yeah, it's cool.
We were like, yeah, that doesn't bother us. We just want to love you and share the space. And
we're like, okay, sure, okay. And it turns out it was very cool. It was great. Regeneration Church at that time was meeting in the old Lattice building on the 2nd story down by Marshall. And that was our first interaction with them. And from there forward, they literally opened their doors to us anytime we needed anything at all.
We ended up just saying, hey, we would love for you to use the space, and we'll just coordinate calendars and that kind of thing. And they had, at that time, the space we had on 4th Avenue, it just had a code on the door. I don't even know if we had a key to anything, but it had a code on the door, and we gave them the code to the door and just let them come and go.
They were extremely kind and extremely welcoming, and we were always kind of wondering if it was kind of a weird relationship between a theater and a church, and wondering if, is this the play they're going to have a problem with? Is there going to be a content issue with this one, or a language issue? And it was never a problem at all. They were always extremely gracious and extremely welcoming of us.
And so we've been in that relationship. It's been great, and we have partnered together, and we use each other's equipment, and we got to a place where we were both using the space and growing in what we were doing, and both needed a space. And so we were both searching.
Their building was not available to them anymore, and so they were looking to move. And it so happened that because Mike had the idea of looking for a home for more than just us, we had some room that could be used for their church and their ministries. And so in that first year, we also gained our old friends and new roommates, Regeneration Church. And it's been such a strange but awesome relationship. They host their services in our theater space on Sundays. They also use that space for things like VBS and special events, and then they operate their food and clothing pantry out of the back of our building.
They asked us, we came and looked and said, yeah, this will give us space. And so we had the theater where we could kind of share that with them to do our worship gathering. But also we had space for our kids, but then for our outreach. And our outreach has grown into what is Grab and Go, which is basically what you would consider a traditional food pantry. But we also have space for another ministry called The Closet, which is clothing. And both of those are open twice a week, where people can come in and get free food, can get free clothing, hygiene products. Sometimes we have furniture. Sometimes you just don't know what we're going to have that we can give away. But God has blessed us with the space through Alchemy to be able to kind of expand.
Hi, I'm Millie Houchins. I'm the Outreach Director for Regeneration Church. We started our food pantry called Grab and Go while we were still in the old Lattice building on 4th Avenue about 3 years ago. And at that time, we were serving maybe 20 families a month. We had some little wooden shelves that we'd made out of pallets, and we were doing everything that we could to feed the people that were in the area that would come asking for food. And when our church first started talking about moving to Geneva, Kent with Alchemy Theater, I started hearing God's voice talk to me. It was very distinct, the word go. Every day, multiple times a day, the word go, go, go. And I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that it had something to do with coming here to Geneva, Kent and working with Alchemy and getting that pantry open. And about that same time is when we entered into our partnership with Facing Hunger to be able to source food at a more reasonable price than what we were being able to get at retail prices. We opened our doors, I think it was a week before the church officially moved in, and I think we served 23 families that very first day. So it was what we would normally serve in a month, we served in our first day. Every single month that we have been here, we have served more people each month, with the exception of 3 months. And we're now up to serving about 1,600 people every single month. Just recently, I went on Facing Hunger's website to see how much food we had gotten from them. And since we've been here, it's over 300,000 pounds that we've been able to distribute to the neighbors here around this area. It's been an amazing, amazing journey. So we also have a free clothing closet called The Closet at Regen. It's run by Terry Olson. She's an amazing woman, and she loves what she does when she works with the people that come to see her. And people come into the closet, and whatever their needs are, whether it's just an outfit for the day or whether it's clothes for work, she and her crew are able to come in and make sure that everyone has what they need. She has dresses, she has shirts, pants, she has suits, She's got underwear, bras, shoes, everything you can imagine. She will make sure that you have everything that you need, especially if you've got a job interview. She's going to make sure that you're dressed to the nines. It's an amazing opportunity. So many people from the community bring in the clothing, and I don't know that we would ever run out of clothing if we stopped taking clothing donations today.
On, any given week, we can have up to 150 people total between Tuesday evenings and Sunday afternoons. 150 people that can sometimes represent 3 or 4 times that number of people, and they come in and get free food and free clothing, and it gives us an opportunity to just love them and make the love of God tangible. And it really, in all honesty, Alchemy has provided that place for us that we wouldn't have been able to do through the space on 4th Avenue. And so, again, it's one of those things where our relationship together and our partnership has allowed us to grow and have a bigger impact in the community. And we really believe and have always considered Alchemy to kind of be family. And so we really believe like we're able to do that together because of being in this space and just being able to interact and be with the community.
And we're just beyond thrilled to continue having a relationship with them and to have them as part of our art center.
Having this building is huge for us. And the size of the building matters. Having the different rooms that we can keep all of our stuff in, that we can let other artists work in. We have utilized at this point just about every inch of this building already. And it gives us a home, and it gives other people the knowledge of where our home is so they can come and see our shows. They know consistently where we'll be now.
We're producing at least double the number of productions as we did before we had a full-time venue. So that's been able to help us stabilize as an organization and to plan further in the distance. We have strategic plans now and 5 and 10 and 15-year goals that we're trying to achieve, and that's only possible because we have a foundation and we have a place in which to build it. We've also been able to expand the types of shows. So now, in addition to offering theater for adults, we also offer theater for children and theater by children, which is something that we couldn't have done before. So having a home has enabled us to give a home as well to many local students and kids who want a place to perform and want a place to learn about theater as an art in general.
My name is Sailor Dixon, and I have been with Alchemy for almost 5 years now, and I have worked on all the Cozy Christmases that they have done here, and I have helped stage manage with roughly 4 kids shows. I have acted. I have worked with the microphones, with the lights. I have stage managed, so I've had to call for people to be on stage. I have worked front of house a little bit, so I've helped people get in. I have helped clean up afterwards. I have assistant stage managed, so I feel like I've learned more from that and have seen better ways to stage manage. Working with the adults as a kid, they make you feel like an adult and they let you actually do things, but they also understand that there are some things that you can't do or are new to, so they help you get through that. And they also make it really easy for you. You feel like you're a part of the entire process and that you're not just sort of watching and observing, and they make you feel like you are actually doing things hands-on. So I think I appreciate that a lot.
My name is Lydia Roof, and I have been with Alchemy for the past 2 years, I think, and it has been a really good experience for me. I have done theater before Alchemy, but I think Alchemy is especially welcoming. I have been in 4 shows at Alchemy. I've done Midsummer, Cheerleaders vs. Aliens, Winnie the Pooh, Christmas Tale, and Schoolhouse Rock. And I've done 2 summer camps here, one was where at the very end, the quote-unquote showcase, we sang a song from Wicked. And then in the other one, we did a little fairy tale play at the end. My dad has been in 3 plays here: Charlie Brown, Circle, Mirror, Transformation, and Oppenheimer. And he also helps a lot with building sets. And my mom has been a costumer for Footloose and A Winnie the Pooh Christmas Tale, and she has been co-costumers for a few other ones. And then my brother also does plays here, and our whole family, we just really like it. Being in theater has definitely helped me speak up in class and learn how to explain things better and learned how to not talk under my breath. So I've definitely learned more social skills, how to be more active in talking and just stuff like that. Theater has helped me in other parts of my life, like in school. It has helped me be able to speak up in class and just speak up for myself in general. Theater has also helped me in social situations. It has helped me learn how to deal with them better.
Through Alchemy and theater in general, I have learned more social skills, but also I've learned how to work with kids and with adults, and I've learned how to handle situations easier and how to find my own place and how to communicate better with people. And
another great benefit of us having a home and an entire Center for the Arts is that we've been able to expand our offerings to other entities and other organizations in our community. Specifically, we've been able to form an official partnership with Marshall University's theater department.
I myself went through the Marshall Theater program, and I know the skills that it developed in me and how important that was. And so it was important once we started Alchemy for me to try to cultivate that relationship with them.
I'm Jack Coldclaw. Some people know me as Jack Cirillo. It's a long story. I am the director of the School of Theater and Dance at Marshall University. I've been working at Marshall for going on 28 years, and we are very proud of our program, and we're particularly proud about our relationship with Alchemy and the fruit that has been born as a result of our partnership over the last few years. The theater, as you know, is really about collaboration and partnerships, and so I was very excited to engage in that conversation and see how Marshall could grow as a result of that kind of professional cooperation, but then also how Alchemy could grow and develop as a result of it as well.
The theater students at Marshall, in order to graduate, have to have an internship where they have to work somewhere outside of Marshall's theater. And we now have a place that we can provide that for them. So moving into our Center for the Arts allowed us to offer that for students. And it allowed a full relationship between Alchemy and the theater department.
Those students are getting their first real professional exposures to what the life and the work prospects are for a professional theater person. And having a company like Alchemy that provides a gateway experience for some of those students is invaluable.
There's a lot more to it than that. We also have been able to host Marshall University professors from the theater department to direct here for us. And we've also, our own directors have directed at Marshall as well.
Nora Ankrum is someone who I've gotten to know just in the last few years. I totally took advantage of her skill set, and she is now teaching for us in the theater department. She does an excellent job of theater history. Mike and I go way back, and Mike is teaching for us and directing for us. This is the second major production that Mike has done for us. He is getting ready to get started with Picasso at the Le Panagile, and we're thrilled to have him along. And frankly, I just like having them around because they're such good people. But the same can be said for so many of the terrific folks here at Alchemy.
We've also hosted professors from other departments at Marshall as speakers for our Shakespeare Festival workshops and lectures. Professors from the English department and the classics department have all been guests here, and they come and they share their knowledge and their expertise. They bring their students to their talks and their lectures, and they come back to see our productions. Some of them are season ticket holders, and some of them end up working on production staffs here as well. So it's been a great relationship all around in the community, specifically with Marshall.
We live in an amazing state that offers so much in so many different ways. But, yes, there's a but. In the professional theater, there just aren't that many opportunities.
There's only one professional theater year-round in the state of West Virginia, and that's in Lewisburg, Greenbrier Valley Theater. I worked there for 3 years, and after I left there, I wanted to see if that was a possibility to do in our area. And I'd always wanted to do that from when I was in school at Marshall in the theater department there. I feel like our region loves the arts and has a lot of support for the arts.
It is possible to do this kind of work in the state, but you can't do it without the theaters.
So that's our goal at Alchemy. We aren't there yet. We're striving for that every year to keep moving that forward. We pay all of our technicians. Occasionally we get to pay our actors. We don't get to pay them as much as we want to, but as of right now, we have worked with over 500 different area artists at Alchemy.
A lot of times as artists, we don't tell the story of how much arts is industry. So a lot of times when I'm posting now on LinkedIn and different things, I just say arts is commerce, is film, is industry. These are all industries, and I think we've done a disservice to our youth a lot where we said that, you need to get a real job, instead of saying that a playwright could be a real job, that an actor could be a real job, that a set carpenter could be a real job, that a DP could be a real job. And we know that for sure that those are real jobs, those are real industry jobs, and you can do them here.
We have aspirations of becoming a professional theater, and now we call ourselves semi-professional because we do pay our artists, and we pay year-long contractors to help run the organization. This is an important step for us, and an important step, I think, for the Huntington community, because it makes us stable as an organization. It makes us a place that is predictable, is a kid that's looking for something to do, they can look at our season and our calendar and they can plan, in September, I'm going to be doing this thing at Alchemy, or I'm going to be auditioning for this, or I want to work on this project at Alchemy. Otherwise, if you have a volunteer-run organization, it's really show by show a lot of times, because that's all that those organizations really have capacity to do.
When I started here, we had $35 in the bank. And now we are a six-figure business, working with artists all the time. And but I think, when people think of donating to the theater, they think huge amounts of money. And certainly we're never going to turn down huge amounts of money.
We've also been really successful in getting some public grants, specifically from the West Virginia Department of Arts, Culture, and History, from the City of Huntington, from the West Virginia Humanities Council. all of which have funded us greatly in the past. And recently, those funds have kind of dried up, and we've had to get creative again. We just this past year, we launched our Save Shakespeare campaign when grant funding that we already had was sort of retroactively removed. And in doing so, we were able to fully fund the 2025 West Virginia Shakespeare Festival through private donations and individual donors, which was a huge success for us. And so we have diversified our funding from public grants to include private grants, and now to include individual and private donors, as well as local businesses that frequently partner with us.
Hi, I'm Kyle Jeffers. I'm the Director of Operations at Intellogix, and we have been in the community since 1998. I've worked there since 2005, and we're a BPO providing some of the best customer service, financial services, help desk, offline work, anything that you could need as a company. We wanted to partner with Alchemy Theater, not just for what they do for the community, but what they mean to the community. And that is bringing joy, bringing their talent, bringing their passion, and that's something that we can sympathize with, and our values align with that. We really like being able to show the theater to a wider audience that may not be used to seeing that or even know that it's around here. And so being able to provide tickets to folks that either couldn't afford them or just had no idea that this was going on in the area has been a joy for us. And then hearing the stories when they come back to work and say how amazing the show was, or I can't believe they can put on such a production, in this area. It's great to hear, and it shows that they're doing it the right way. One of the things that we really appreciated this year about being a platinum sponsor is the partnership with the Marshall University Theater and everything that they do there. Excited. When I went to Marshall, I got to see Dracula, I got to see the importance of being earnest. And so to see this come back around and now being partnered with Alchemy, who we are partnered with, that was exciting for me.
Obviously, there are different amounts, and everything costs differently, and musicals cost a lot more, and plays cost a certain amount of money, and building sets, if the set is extravagant, it costs more. But we're never talking about, a show doesn't cost us $100,000. A season cost us $100,000.
Tens of thousands of dollars will fund what we're talking about for an entire year. We're not talking about millions and millions of dollars.
If you have it, we'd love to have it. Sure, absolutely. But, some of our season sponsors that sponsors for the whole season, for instance, at the $10,000 level, are essentially paying for the first 2 festivals and the first show of the year, and we do 12 shows a year.
So I would just encourage anybody that wants to get involved or thinks that they love the arts like I loved the arts, and pursue it personally. If you have a professional tendency, it is probably very useful to our organization. We have a slew of professions that are represented in our organization across the board. And again, as we have expanded to include so many different aspects, we have need of a lot of expertise in a lot of different areas. And so, even a political theorist has a place at a theater.
I always call it locally grown world class. So Alchemy's kind of that, locally grown world class. And what you guys have done here in this community and build out this really special space, and I think always been story first. I think the thing that's exciting about Alchemy is that it's done with so much truth and just done organically and done story first. And so any production that you guys put on, we know is going to be really great quality. And I think that it really shows how many talented people are here. When you see one of your all shows and you see who's over the music, you see who's dancing, you see who's in the production, and people that want to be a part of it.
As you walk into this facility, there is action constantly, everywhere from senior citizens to the children. and it's just absolutely amazing what you're doing, and there's magic that is created within that theater.
You guys have created something really special here, and it shows by the crowds, and it shows by when you walk into this space. When you walk in this space, to me, this looks like, to me, the green room where we're at now, reminds me of something really special, like going into the Grand Ole Opry. I mean, like somewhere, where they've put a lot of heart and thought and heart and soul into a place. And so I think that makes it special.
But I am very prideful of the fact that when I come to Alchemy and I see a lot of my former students working in a professional sense, creating theater, creating art in this community, establishing something that wasn't here a few years ago in a very professional and fine sense, I'm filled with pride, and I want to encourage this beautiful production company to grow and to develop further.
Imagine if we levitated up into subspace and looking down into the Ohio River Valley, and they see some brilliant, bright lights in the Pittsburgh area, and brilliant, bright lights in Cincinnati, and brilliant, bright lights over in Louisville. But there's this one brilliant beam of light that's going up, that's coming out of Alchemy Theater, right here in Huntington. Our arts enable us to be able to do these things. They give us the realization that we can accomplish about anything that we set our mind to.
Hi, I'm Nora Ankrum. I'm Executive Director of Alchemy Theater.
And I'm Mike Murdock, the Artistic Director of Alchemy Theater. Welcome to Alchemy Theater's Geneva Kent Center for the Arts.